Hi, with this video we're going to talk about printing with rubber, otherwise known as safety cut or soft cut, depending on which company you get it from. It's all the same thing. It's probably about the same texture as an eraser would feel, but it's thin and it's easy to carve and it's super fun. Kids love doing this. Okay, so the idea is, first of all, I'm going to make 2 templates, okay, because as usual, we like to practice what we're doing first, come up with 2 good ideas, and then we can pick the best one. Okay, because we always find sometimes maybe we like the second one better than we like the first one. So I'm going to trace those first to get the size of the rubber on there. Okay. And once I have those on there, then I would think about what am I going to draw on this. These are going to be like Japanese woodblock prints. And so think about lots of times when they did Japanese woodblock prints, they used nature. So you might want to think about a landscape. You might want to focus on a single object or a single thing in nature, a tree, a flower, you know, something along those lines. My recommendation would be to keep it simple. Don't draw something that's very, very complicated with all kinds of tiny, tiny little spaces, because the more spaces you have and the tinier they are, the more difficult it will be to carve them out, because that's ultimately what we are going to be doing with it, is we will be carving them out. Okay, and so I've gone ahead and I've come up with my 2 drawings. I did a flower for one, and I did a sunset. This is from a picture that I took in the Smoky Mountains, and I was amazed at how you just see the overlapping layers of mountains in the distance. So I went ahead and decided to do this one for my print. And what I've done is redrawn it on a different piece of paper so I can save that drawing for my examples for kids. And I've got the picture here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out. This sounds a little odd, but I have already scribbled on the back of it really hard with pencil. And the reason that I'm doing this is it's going to act like carbon paper. I'm going to be able to trace this so that I don't have to redraw everything. If you're not familiar with carbon paper and what that is it means I'm going to be able to create another picture of this very easily just by tracing it. Okay, so I'm going to take my piece of rubber like so, and I'm going to go ahead and put this over the top. Now, what I want to be careful not to do is put a bunch of fingerprints right in here where the picture is, because if I do that, what's going to happen is I'm going to get big fingerprints smudged on there. So I'm going to put it kind of in the middle where I'm not doing anything, and then what I'll do is I will trace my picture very carefully with pencil. And what that's going to do, I'll pull this up. You see how it's transferring it right to the rubber there? Makes it nice and easy so I don't have to redraw everything. But you'll notice my fingerprint smudges are there as well. So you want to be careful of how many places you're putting your fingerprints on it, and or rubbing your finger on this side as you're tracing it. Okay, and I'm going to hold on to it with this hand so I don't let go, because if I let go, it might slip and move to a different place. And I don't want that to happen either, because that means I have to start over all over again. Okay, so there we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so you can see where I really was holding it down tight there. There's a big old fingerprint on that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this. You can do this with pen, you can do it with Sharpie, whichever, does not matter. But I'm going to trace this, and what I'm going to do then is I'm going to color in those lines so that you can really see them, and they have a little bit of thickness to them. Okay, because now what I'm going to do is these are going to become the lines of my picture, and I'm going to leave these lines visible, and I'm going to take away all of the other space that is on the rubber. Okay, so I'm going to make this like a double line here so that it's nice and thick. And like I said, what I'll be doing then is this is the part that will stay, and ultimately this is the part that will print, and then the rest of it will be taken away. We'll be removing it. That way it will not print. So we could say that the positive space, the lines, are what is going to be printing. The negative space, the space around the lines, it is what is going to be removed. Therefore, it will not be printing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trace all of this, and then I'm ready to start carving. So once I have this done, I'm good to go. Do you see what I'm saying about keeping it simple though? Because the more complicated you get, you're going to have to get in and out of all of those spaces. Alright, so that's coming up with your design, drawing it, and getting it traced. Okay, now we're ready to start carving.